Welcome to SAP S/4HANA Product Success Immersive Experience. Today we are going to dig into one of the most important topics in the global digital supply chain, which is the topic of transportation management. My name is Yannick Peterschmitt. I'm leading the S/4HANA Product Success Enablement team, and I'm pleased to be here today with Emanuel from engineering and Markus from the product management team.
Hey Yannick,
Thanks for being here, guys. Doing good. Before we dig into that topic, we'd like to talk about something that is deep in your heart, which is basketball. Markus, you're a pretty tall guy. I've even heard you were a pretty good player. So what's your tip? Who's winning the NBA title this season?
Tough question, Yannick. I think my wish is Dallas Mavericks. I think from the roster strength, Boston Celtics will do it. I think so.
Okay, Boston Celtics, noted. Manuel, would you like to have something to that?
Yeah, not as tall as Markus maybe, but I guess the title will be decided in the East, but I go with the obvious pick with the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah.
Great. If Milwaukee or something or Boston will advance, I think, Emanuel, we go to the States and maybe go to the finals if possible. That would be awesome.
Okay, please take me with you.
This is my offer.
Okay, yeah. Deal. We go three of us.
Okay, cool.
So now let's have a look at our topic. And with the world supply chain in disarray and the transportation costs constantly growing, exploding, delivering the right good at the right destination to the right point of time can be super challenging. How can SAP help our customers in this regard?
Absolutely, Yannick. I completely agree with you. These have always been challenging points within supply chain management, but I think now SAP is ready for our customers to successfully manage these challenges with SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition Transportation Management. In particular, we offer all transportation modes, charge management, resource optimization, automated billing processes, and even a warehouse management integration now. Emanuel, you can also please add your opinion.
I can only support that statement. If we talk to our customers over the last year, with the pandemic, with the shortage in trucking, right? The common statement is not delivering is not an option. So that means they need to adapt. And it is either by finding new sources of trucking capacity, or it is by actually adapting their contracts. Contracts are not that much worth as they have been in the past. So they need a system that is able to adapt to these challenges. And I think TM offers that possibility within the S4 Cloud now. We already mentioned the charge management, the contract management, everything is there, everything is easy maintainable, easy adjustable to the needs, the market demands. And I think to top that off, we know of the LHR capabilities. We have a very long history of knowing what suite capabilities are required. And of course, we have a lot of customers asking us now that they want to see what we can offer in the public cloud and what they are running so successfully over the last years. Yeah?
I completely agree.
So you guys confirm SAP is ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
I'd like to dig in one of the key topics in transportation management, which is obviously track and trace. Can you mention one example of what we offer concretely as part of our portfolio for track and trace?
I mean, in my opinion, track and trace is very important, but I think we, as SAP, go a step further. I think end-to-end visibility is very important, and we want to focus on real business insights.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Emanuel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that if you have the talk over the last years in transportation was very much about ETA, real-time geo-coordinate support, yeah. And I think we might need to come from a different perspective, talking as a suite application, right? For us, visibility doesn't end where my goods is, where my truck is. Of course, that is an absolute essential question if you talk about visibility. But what we can offer as SAP is far more, right? We have an integrated suite, and the benefits that we can see goes far more. We can adapt to these impacts by having, for example, the integration into stock projection for the future if my inbound transports are late. Yeah. So I actually brought a demo with me that I would like to show you. Yeah?
That's very good.
Let's watch that.
So we find ourselves on our transportation map landing page in our S4 Cloud solution. And I prepared a document for you, which is actually a multi-stage inbound transport process in the US. So we have two suppliers. We pick up multiple goods. You can see in our cargo view, you have two freight units which represent our freight demands. Yeah, and you can also see in the document flow that this is based on purchase orders. They were order-based planned, and we now have inbound deliveries in the system. You can see that the system scheduled those orders to actually arrive at the second location at the 17th of November in the evening around 8 o'clock. And we can see that the final delivery and the time when I actually received the goods from my suppliers is scheduled to arrive at the 18th, 30 minutes out of midnight, and the unloading will happen so that at midnight, at the 19th, which was my requested delivery date in that purchase order, is actually met. Yeah? What we will now see is, in parallel, we reported a such called estimated time of arrival. Again, we have a lot of visibility providers in that area. And we can see that TM not only adjusted the arrival time of the affected stop, so it's not only the supplier location where I have a projected delay in my arrival, but it also took the scheduling and actually moved the times of my final arrival. And what does that mean? Of course, that has an impact on my inbound delivery, so it doesn't end for my transport being late. But looking actually at the inbound delivery here, we can see that also my delivery date was adjusted. And with that, of course, I have insight into far more considering my supply chain, the impact on stock, and my availability of the material for my production or any processes which come upstream. Yeah?
Thanks, Emanuel, for this presentation. Great one.
Thanks.
Very good. I would like also to have an announcement, Yannick, if I may. There's one thing we are working on, and with a little bit of luck with 2302 release, there's a thing called Logistics Process Flow Transparency.
Wow, so I'm pleased to use this stage for such a big announcement. Markus, what is that exactly?
Thank you very much, Yannick. Do you guys do online shopping?
Well, 85% of what I do is online shopping.
The boxes at home.
Okay, cool. And then you probably receive a lot of status messages, right?
Too many?
Too many, okay. And then this is one of the idea or use case behind the logistic process flow transparency solution we currently develop. We are taking logistic relevant status messages from S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition and sending these messages as events, for example, to a web shop.
I understand that, but what is the real advantage, Markus?
Very good question, Yannick, very good question. So the advantage is that we develop an out-of-the-box integration that cannot only monitor events or status, but also perform activity management. What do I mean with activity management? Meaning interpreting the events or status messages and triggering actions. So it goes more into machine learning, but a similar direction what Emanuel just showed with his demo.
Okay, and 2302?
The first piece will be delivered, hopefully, fingers crossed, but it looks that
I
way.
guess many of our transportation customers will really watch for that one and be happy to implement it.
We will roll it out, yes.
I'd like to come now to a different topic. Which industries can really benefit from SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition Transportation Management?
Okay, maybe I take the question. So of course with the core transportation capabilities, I think you offer the chance to connect to a lot of our customers and to offer benefit, right? If we not directly talk about industries, but about scenarios, of course, our first focus is to have an integrated solution that you use for subcontracting processes. So the communication with your service providers is very much in the focus of our current releases. Yeah? You don't have an own fleet, but you run it via your business partners, you have contracts, you subcontract, you pay them, right? End-to-end, automated, this is our goal.
Emanuel, just one thing, we do also have a customer that owns fleet, I heard.
That is true. That maybe shows the adaptability that you, even without us actively working towards Go, we see that we can offer core transportation, and that also offers our customers to adapt and support other business processes which we might not have even foreseen when delivering, right? I would see looking a bit into also the direction where we went with 2302, maybe like a short heads up, we will have the consignment order and the advanced shipping notification. We will have a bigger view into the roadmap later. We of course look very much into industries like component manufacturing, right, for which the communication as a supplier to their customers is absolutely critical, and integrating that into the transportation management, I think, makes the solution S4 Cloud very attractive to that industry. Yeah.
Before we go further into discussion, Manuel, you mentioned that we had the LETRA module coming from R3, at least from naming. Did SAP always offer TM, transportation management, with the public cloud offering?
No, so I guess we had a journey into that, rather a late bloomer in the S4 Cloud, right? I think we had the delivery management very early as a core part, core logistics within S4 Cloud. And even before we moved into TM, we supported the connection to external TMS systems via the delivery, right? And I think that was released with release 1811.
Okay.
With release 2011, we actually supported our first TM objects, I would say, right? It was not an internal planning process, but we supported the freight units, which modeled our demand, and we supported the freight orders, which modeled our capacities. And we integrated that into our charge management, as well as our agreement management, contract management, and an integration into our financials, right? So you send out your demands, an external system is planning it, receive the response, and we do the financial part.
Okay.
That came with 2011, right? But since 2108, we really now have the core functionalities of a transportation management, consolidation via transportation cockpit, execution steps, communication to all business partners, right?
Okay.
These are, we're building very strong on that capabilities and add more and more over the years right now.
Yannick, we also brought a slide to go a little more into details, if you may.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, interesting.
So like Emanuel said, with 2108, the initial cloud release for transportation management, we first started out with manual transportation planning, outbound, inbound, stock transfers for road. That was our first shipment. We also sent or gave our customers the possibility with the geo coordinates distances. So this is also now possible in public cloud, or was since 2108 actually possible. Then with the next release, 2111, we went more into the outbound rail and inbound, and improved also our transportation planning inbound capabilities for rail. And then the next release, 2202, we focused on the ocean freight. So ocean freight was a big inbound, outbound, and also the planning for ocean freight and everything that comes with it was introduced in 2202. So coming to the last release, 2208, yeah, I mean, we shipped so much. We have this nice graphic here. I mean, even in advanced intercompany sales, we integrated transportation management. We focused on improving the stock transport orders. We have rule-based assignments now of freight units and freight orders, so we can even requirement grouping profiles have that now in the system. And a big thing in 2208 was also the introduction of outbound, inbound of air transportation management. And also very important is, with the last release, 2208, the integration of warehouse management. We have EDI-based subcontracting now. I mean, you see the slide, there was so much. Maybe we sum it up now, Emanuel. What do you think?
Yeah, well, let me try that. I mean, it's a lot of stuff on that slide, right?
Yeah.
But maybe best to throw it up, right? I think what we can show in the meantime is we have a very tight integration to the complete process flow of like O2C, procure to pay, right? The TM is in the middle of that, is a central part of that in our S4 Cloud solution, and we have all the pieces which are required, and we have all the pieces not only manual but also in a high automated fashion, which we can do. You mentioned the requirement grouping, automated demands to capacity assignment, the freight cost confirmation based on execution status, right? All that supports our customers to run in the past manual process.
Even locations now.
Absolutely, manual, right? When you also say we offer now a single platform as our S4 Cloud to control all these processes. So it's not anymore that you have a lot of sidecars, that you have a lot of external systems running. You can run all that within one platform, which is S/4HANA Cloud. And we also combine the aspects of planning, execution, and invoicing within that one solution. And of course, we as SAP, we would not be SAP if not for especially the financial part would be also covered with our contract management and with our integration into our financial components.
Okay. Cool. Great achievement. So now we've had a look at all the innovations coming from the SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition from the core directly. But of course, a lot of customers would like to know more about the extensibility options to go beyond the standard best practice or the scope items that you guys design and we sell and ship. So Emanuel, what are the options there?
It's a great time for our meeting here because we are very close to the release or to the finalizing the development for 2302, and here extensibility was a very big focus for us. And if we want to talk extensibility, I would say we can distribute it in two different buckets, right?
Okay.
Let's talk about key user extensibility, right? And let me try to always give that an example, or maybe even two examples, right? Key user extensibility, when I say in a nutshell, it comes down to enabling users to add a field, for example, in different formats, of course, to certain parts of your UI, to certain parts of your backend, but then also supporting that with some backend logic on how that field is filled. For example, a lot of our customers use external tracking platforms, and depending if they use one provider or another provider, right? They might have different URLs also. So they could build an additional field because, of course, we as SAP, we do not have all these tracking URLs. They have some specific logic to build it. They add a field, they add the business logic on how these URLs are built, and they then can automatically fill it, and the user has it available on the UI to connect. And of course, you can even think about more sophisticated processes in the future, adding a certain parameter, adding a certain flag that drives additional charge elements which you want to add, right? You say, for example, I had an issue during my transport for which my carrier might be penalized actually, often which you might benefit actually, and you want to not have that very complicated via manual process, but an understandable fashion, and I think key user extensibility is absolute key for that. If we might come to the, let's say, more complex extensibility, so we call it developer extensibility, right? We have to talk our data. So something we missed in the past also in our on-prem offerings, and we heard that for a long time, is now offering public or data APIs to which customers connect via BTP. We can use all the good stuff we offer at BTP, no-code, low-code, right? SAP App Guiver, for example, where they can all this small applications which we could never, for example, as a core offer for all the use cases which our customers expect, for all the industries which we will face, right? And this really offers them read the data, write the data back to the system, and basically the limit is your imagination or the capabilities of your data services. But again, we are really working hard on that. We know the importance for our customers, for our partners, and it will be a future investment definitely in that area.
Impressive. Thanks for sharing that.
Yannick, if I may, I also brought something today, a little demo for, I mean, I don't know if you want to call it extensibility, but what we did for a customer is we used standardized CDS views and connected that to SAP Analytics Cloud. Do you want to see it?
Very cool. So the cloud-to-cloud integration in action. Let's go.
Do it. So here in the system, you see the integration with that app here we call Transportation Dashboard. And here in the general freight overview, you can see it here. We just use the standard CDS views for some carrier statistics. So here, for example, gross volume per carrier, gross weight per carrier, or the share by weight per carrier, for example, here. We can also assign easily the freight amount per carrier or the average capacity utilization. So companies are really flexible in designing this with SAP Analytics Cloud. And this is completely embedded in SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition. Here we can see also which CDS views we used, and we included even here the distance. So for example here for this freight order 607 kilometers. Here you could also drill down further. So when we move away a little bit from the general freight overview to the freight costs, this is a quick and dirty thing we did now here for the expert talk, but you can see the cost breakdown. It's here by 100% for the 100 euros for this order, for example. Freight charge and even CO2 emissions are possible with CDS standard CDS views. Here the charge types can also be seen from the ERP backend system. And here the capacity utilization again. We see that it started out low, now we're at 97%, so it's getting better. We see the CO2 emissions, which becomes more and more important now. Also for companies to see what the CO2 status is for each transport. And we also can build like easily with the SAP Analytics Cloud, here CO2 metrics per ton per carrier. So what else did we do here? So you can also easily use standard CDS views to check on the profitability, to build a nice dashboard. And here you have all the information for the freight order. And when we scroll down to the right a little bit here, you can see the item quantity, the item gross weights. You can see the freight per kilo. So here, for example, €2.13 per kilo. So this was just a little example of what we can do with the extensibility and with SAP S/4HANA Analytics Cloud.
Thanks, Markus. Great demo.
Oh, you're welcome, Yannick.
So we've seen three things. The key content or processes from the SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition core. Emanuel has alluded on the extensibility options in-app or on the BTP. And we've just seen a great demo on the integration cloud to cloud with SAP Analytics Cloud. I think we all have the same questions, right? And I'm looking at you, Emanuel. What is next? Markus has alluded a little bit on a 2302 announcement, but what's beyond? Because this is going to come very fast for our customer.
Yeah, I think I took our roadmap a bit and I tried to cluster it a bit, right? Because even on the 22.8 we saw it's just so much stuff going on currently in S/4HANA Cloud that sometimes it might be a bit overwhelming. picking up where we left off with the extensibility, of course, this is a continuous effort, right? Not only in the integration of key user extensibility, enhancing our data services, which we will further invest, but also making the system more flexible, right? Right now, compared to the old prem, right, we very much focus on having an end-to-end process running, not too much kind of adaptation. And of course, now we say, okay, our customers expect to be more flexible with the solution. And here we want to offer a lot more capabilities, right? That means, for example, having the options to copy text through the complete document chain from a sales order, from a purchase order into our freight documents, aggregating that information, sending it out to your business partners. That means support the tools which customer need also, right? Some things we talk not so much, but customers are running in the cloud, and customers need that we also support them in running their system. Which, I mean, of course, we are running the system, but in the end, there can be issues that they need to solve. So we support them by offering filters for their SOAP messages, for example, so that they can actually identify what came in the system, why a message might have failed, right? Because the context was not correct. We support the maintenance of document references, right? Of course, we have customers from so many industries, so many references. All they have to be managed in the system, and all that while keeping the core clean, right? Which is one of our core principles. So this is one thing we definitely see on the right side of that slide. On the left side, sorry, which we want to focus on. The seventh topic I already mentioned, that of course integration is an integral part, right? We saw what we have with the SAC, what is option, and I talked about consignment orders and ASN, so not only connecting to your business partners on the carrier side or the forwarder side, but also connecting as a supplier to your customers, sending out this information, right? We want to support further also the error handling in this mess, as I already mentioned, right? We already can receive carrier invoices via API. We want to support unplanned cost also for carrier invoices, right? And we also, of course, have a lot more documents depending on the industry, which we discussed, which an SD scheduling agreement, which is absolutely crucial for the industry we talked before, right? To obviously, so not only supporting sales orders, purchase orders, customer returns, but also supporting scheduling agreements in the future as a basis for transportation demand. And last but not least, one of my dear topics coming from the long transportation history. Of course, now we have a lot of knowledge in the transportation space because we have a transportation management solution for years. And now it's about for us to pick the features where we say this is transportation specific, this comes from a best of breed world. But we also want to have that in S4 Cloud because we think it's integral part of a transportation solution. So that, for example, let me give you an example. We talk about the verified cross-mass. It's a legal requirement based on the SOLAS convention to ship via ocean. And of course, we say we need that as part of transportation, also in S4HANA Cloud. Or we have new apps to maintain commodity codes, right? So we have a lot of industries, Rail North America, where all the freight, all the charge management, everything is running via commodities for a lot of industries. And we support that also in the future. Temperature control ranges, right? Material-based temperature, which we did not have, so that you actually have to consider how do I need a cooling track for my
This would be a different industry or a new industry we could focus on.
Of course, it's again very broad, but I think core features of transportation which you need to run a modern transportation management system also within a suite. Yeah.
Guys, great stuff coming with SAP S4HANA Cloud Public Edition Transportation Management. I think, as you call it, a modern transportation management system. I think a modern transportation management system needs a good integration to warehouse management system as well. Emanuel, we'd like to share something around that topic.
Yes, absolutely. So maybe as word up front before we jump to the demo. Of course, in the suite, we said integration is key, and therefore we also had the conscious decision that for those of you are aware of the advanced shipping and receiving, which was developed within S4, that this also has to be basis in cloud. Yeah? So all the integration between the transportation management, core logistics, and warehousing is using the features of our new advanced shipping and receiving, and we actually had that delivered already in first parts in 22.8, and here I brought a small demo, and after that I might also give you an idea on what will come next. Yeah?
Let's watch this demo.
So coming again to our landing page, I have prepared a slightly different example. So this time we will jump into an outbound scenario. So we actually performed, and you will see that in the document flow here, an order-based planning. So also, just to mention it, we support order-based planning in S4 Cloud, not only delivery-based planning. And if you check the document flow here, you will see at this point there is no delivery integration, no delivery created. We can trigger the delivery creation from TM. Based on your planning, the deliveries will actually be created out of your commercial documents like the sales order. Yeah? And as soon as the delivery process is done, you will see that an outbound delivery created. But we do not stop here. we have assigned a storage location that is relevant for cloud warehousing in our S4 Cloud. And just after the refresh, you will see that on top of the outbound delivery, we have the warehouse outbound delivery. And that is not only for display, but it's actually the predecessor document of our demands. And moving now to actually our packing solution, so we performed the picking in parallel to save some time, we can see that loading this outbound delivery, we will now blend them on 2 separate pallets. And after performing so, we will see that the ready for shipping, which is done by the clerk of the warehouse, will actually trigger the update to transportation manager. And we can see it live here. I saved the refresh specifically for this demo. You can see that after refreshing, the package information are directly in TM, and there they can of course used for printing, for charge calculation, if you, for example, based on your dimensions want to charge calculate, and it's all there for that. Now, coming to 2302 as promised. So far I showed you the packaging information going to TM. Now we will support the next step also with 2302, which is the loading. So the warehouse clerk actually performing the loading, telling which packages are actually on the truck, and the information being directly integrated into the freight order which we have in TM. Meaning, if you say you are supposed to load and you finalize the loading without having everything loaded on a truck, it will automatically be updating the freight order in TM, unassigning demands which are not loaded on the truck, and opening them again for planning. Yeah? So a very integrated process, having the packaging component and the loading component within our solution. Yeah.
Emanuel, we look forward to rolling that out. Yes.
Thanks, that's great to see the innovations coming to our customers between TM, between WM, and of course a strong integration coming out of the box. Thanks for sharing all that. Markus, I know that you just did an SAP S4HANA in-depth for transportation management with a complete end-to-end road demo.
Very true, very true. Well informed. Yannick.
Can you share the key questions from the customers when you delivered that one?
Yes, I would like to. Actually, I have to give also credit here to Pascal René, because I did it together with him. And I created the blog, but he also delivered some information or a lot of key demos for those questions that came up. We had I think over 45 questions. We took now the most important questions that came up the most. Maybe we can show the blog post quickly.
Sure, let's have a look at the blog.
What we started. Yes.
Let's do that.
So here I created this in-depth with SAP S4HANA transportation management Q&A. And when we scroll down a little bit here, we can see that currently we have 5 questions answered. So you can see here the question number 1, considering the following. This one is about freight charge or rate management with different scaling, and also with handling units. If you scroll down a little bit more, there's another question, and you can see we wanted to do something different. We wanted to create the answer in the system, because I mean we didn't want to say like yes or no. We wanted to show the customer how it's really done. And at the moment we have 5 questions that came up. Just write us your favorite questions, and then maybe we can also add or make this blog post a little bit longer or create a new one. So maybe to our audience we can give this information of this blog post later on. Yeah.
Thank you, Markus. And actually, this is a great segue, because I happen to have a question from the SAP S4HANA Cloud community for transportation management. Let me read that for you guys.
Of course, of course. Yeah.
Currently, order-based scenario is enabled in SAP S4HANA Cloud Public Edition for transportation management. Question is, what does SAP offer? Sorry, when does SAP offer delivery-based scenario? Good question.
Yeah, good and valid question from the community, Yannick. Yeah, we are currently evaluating a delivery-based freight unit building scenario to support the subcontracting business process specifically for a customer in China. Unfortunately, I cannot really say more, Yannick, but it's not a new topic. We have heard about it, and it's a valid community question.
Okay, okay. Apropos community, I have one more question for you, Emanuel. We have a growing community, but still quite small, of course, focusing on SaaS ERP. From your point of view, how do we strengthen that community? How do we bring more people in, more content? What would be your advice there?
So with transportation management, we have a very vibrant community now for years, be it on our LinkedIn group or be it in the actual SAP community. So we have a frequent exchange between our development department, project managers, and customers or consultants. And of course, we really wish now that this engagement also goes for our cloud scope, right? Be it as there are questions, what is coming, for example, or do you think you will support this in the future? But also concrete implementation questions, right? So me and a lot of colleagues, we are absolutely happy to engage here. So I can only ask anyone who's listening to our recording here, please get active, reach out to us. We are absolutely happy to discuss questions about transportation in S4 Cloud also with you.
I think in the future we should work together, our two departments.
We will.
What do you think, Yannick?
We will.
We have to discuss. Yeah?
We are doing this
Yeah,
already. This is just the start. I think with that, I want to say a big thanks to you, Emanuel. We know you have a tough agenda in engineering. Thanks for spending a couple minutes with us today. Thanks, Markus, as well, for preparing all that.
Thank you.
Of course, to you, thanks as well for following. This was the SAP S4HANA Product Success Immersive Experience on Transportation Management. Stay connected in the community. We've highlighted the benefits of the community many times. Chime in our podcast Inside SAP S4HANA. And of course, if you have a question, as always, use InsideS4 at sap.com and we'll make sure you get an answer. Thanks a lot and see you soon.